And yes, the Falcons did take flight. For the first time in program history, UTPB played a school that was not in a state bordering Texas. For the first time in UTPB history, they played a game in the Eastern time zone. For the first time in UTPB history, they took flight. Out in the state with a few Great Lakes, UTPB was taking on Northern Michigan. Northern Michigan started this one out with 2 touchdowns in the first half, and it was not looking good for the Falcons. But Sam the Spark Allen would have their back. In his first start of his career, Allen threw for 3 touchdowns and no turnovers, and Allen's proving he deserves a spot under center. The Wildcats would continue to tack on, but the Falcons would continue to fight back, outscoring Northern Michigan 15-7 over the final 22 minutes, showing resiliency that is really something to be proud of. However, resiliency is only a key to winning football games. The final key is putting more points on the board than the other team, and today the Falcons could not do that. Today we will break down another step forward for the UTPB Falcons and a look to their home opener this Saturday. I'm Marshall Kramsky, and you are watching Falcon Focus.
From the home of Falcon football, CBS 7 presents Falcon Focus with Jake Gaydon and Marshall Kramsky.
Welcome to Falcon Focus, the weekly coaches show. We're here to break down everything you need to know about Falcon football. I'm Jake Gaydon.
And I'm Tatum Gwynn, here with Coach Carrigan. Okay, Coach, let's get right into it. A lot of firsts this week for Falcon football. What was it like, getting up on the plane, headed up north to the Mitten State?
The kids had a good time with it, and I think in the end, maybe it was a little bit of a distraction. Unfortunately, we weren't able to kind of get locked in early enough into the game, but I know the kids had a good time getting on the plane. Even the ones that were scared were kind of laughing and having a good time. So it was good to experience that with them.
A lot of smiles.
How was Christian with that, though? We talked about last week. Christian Brown never flew on a plane before. So did he take it okay?
He was doing okay. Broncho Wright was right there with him as far as not wanting to get on the plane. I think probably about 30 kids had never flown before. So, again, it was a fun experience as a coach to ride along with them for that. But at the end of the day, that we have a mission that we're going to accomplish, and we didn't do that, and that's something that we got to lock into.
All right, let's talk about that mission. The field on the play. You went with the decision to start Sam. He put up some great numbers, 250-plus passing yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. What went into that decision?
Well, going back to the Texas Southern game, when he came in, there was a little bit of a spark. We were able to move down the field, score some touchdowns, and it was just trying to ride that momentum a little bit and see if he couldn't, kind of get us over that hump and start winning some ball games. Again, we didn't start off very fast. He did make some great plays. Like you said, put up some good numbers, but we got to be able to get in the end zone more consistently and be able to sustain drives more consistently.
So you touched on this just a little bit. In week 1, y'all are against a D1 team, and this week maybe travel perhaps could have played a role into that slow start. What are some other things that you will be focusing going forward?
The big one we just met for about hours. How do we become more consistent? What are some of the things that we need to focus on in practice? For our players to kind of lock into the little details and make sure that every little thing that we do within a practice matters, that we are more consistent every drill. And just trying to put more focus on that next week during practice.
Okay, the first half is over. You go into the locker room. What's the message? What were the X's and O's that you guys wanted to kind of schematically change?
Offensively, it was kind of one of those conundrums where you kind of go into halftime and you go, okay, everything that we game plan for is there. Nothing's really changed. We don't really need to change anything. We just need to execute better. And we were able to do that a little bit in the second half, execute a little bit cleaner and be able to move the ball down the field and get in the end zone a little bit more. But it wasn't really a whole lot to clean up in the X's and O's. It was just operate cleaner.
Getting back to Sam real quick. Sorry. Getting back to Sam, do you think he's going to be starting from now on, or are you going to keep that competition completely open?
Well, again, we're a competition-based program.
True.
And I want everybody to feel like each week they have to prove themselves. I don't want them to ever feel like that if they screw up, they're going to come out of the game.
Of course.
But throughout a week of practice, we're competing.
I like that. So y'all went into halftime with a lot of momentum. Y'all put some numbers up on the board. Was there a certain moment during that first half that kind of, I guess, woke the guys up, so to say?
Yeah, not that I can recall. I'm not sure if we ever really woke up until the fourth quarter. Yeah. It just kind of seemed like we were just kind of in the game, but not really mentally in the game. when the fourth quarter came around and you look at the scoreboard and you go, oh, we better do something. And it kind of seemed like at that point there was a sense of urgency.
Hello.
Yeah. We need to start a game with that hello.
Yeah, right. Well, I hope that happens going into our home game opener. I'm excited for that coming up this coming week. But we'll dive into that coming up in our next break.
Of course, absolutely.
So now let's head over to our counterpart, Marshall Kramsky. He has this week's Falcon Offensive Player of the Week. Who do we have, Marshall?
Well, Tatum, Jake, Sam Allen had a great game offensively, but a passer is nothing without a receiver. Allen threw for 3 touchdowns, 2 of which were caught by this week's Offensive Player of the Week, number 2, Mitchell Leonard. The senior was all over the field. Besides the 2 scores, he had 67 receiving yards on a total of 4 catches. All right, off the stat sheet, Leonard's ability to be open at the right time for the Falcons was instrumental in their late comeback, as both of his scores came in the fourth quarter. And that is why Mitchell Leonard is this week's Week 2's Falcon Offensive Player of the Week. Congrats to Mr. Leonard. Make sure you stay with us when we come back. Jake, Tatum, and Coach will break down a great Falcons second half, and I will tell you who our Defensive Player of the Week is. Don't touch that remote. Falcon Focus. We'll be right back.
We're back with more Falcon Focus with Jake Gaden and Marshall Kramsky.
Welcome back to Falcon Focus. All right, let's talk about the second half. A great Falcon second half. Am I right, Tatum?
Absolutely. The Falcons, they outscored Northern Michigan 15-10 in the second half. And, Coach, it seems like you're becoming a halftime speech master. Second week in a row that the Falcons, they have ended the game really strong. So what did you say to them this week?
Again, it wasn't, there was definitely no magical speech, no Newt Rockney. And for those that know me, I'm a very matter-of-fact guy, and so we start off slow and sluggish. We're going to point that out and just try to figure out how to wake our guys up. The game plan was good, and everything that we had talked about was there, and it was just a matter of executing. And our guys did a better job in the second half. We got to figure out how to make that speech in the pregame.
Sure.
Let me ask you this. In that halftime, are you going into deeply? Are you actually even saying anything? Or are you just guys going right to the board and saying, hey, this is the stuff that they're doing, and this is how we have to fix it?
As an offensive staff, we get together for about 3 or 4 minutes, talk about what's good, what's not good, why wasn't something working, where did we go wrong, what are we getting to certain, formations that we're in. And at the end of that conversation, Saturday was pretty much, hey, everything we've talked about and everything on our call sheet holds true to what we wanted to do when we came into it. It's just a matter of executing. So you spend those couple minutes and you go, okay, well, here's where we're at. Let's go start executing better and visit with the guys and talk about, maybe a couple wrinkles here or there.
So the first thing I think you guys really talked about was probably passing game. Really helped out. Mitch Leonard really came out big, like Marshall was talking about. So what was kind of working with them? Is it just the matchup with Sam and quarterback, or is it just the scheme was there for you guys?
Well, defensively, what they did, going into it, I thought we were going to be able to run the ball well. And for me, I want to establish the run to then open up our passing game. We didn't establish the run, but the passing game was still there, and we anticipated a lot of the stuff that we got to. I just didn't want to have to get to opening it all up, so much in the second half. I'd like to be able to get to some of that stuff naturally. Again, being able to run the ball, and we didn't do a very good job of running the ball. Marquise Simmons had a good day for the few carries that he had, but offensively, we got to be able to establish the run.
So in the fourth quarter, we keep bringing that up. Sam connected with Mitchell Leonard for a touchdown with 2:21 left. How was the motion with the team after that? I mean, if you're there, you could feel it.
Yeah, you could. And for a moment, you kind of felt like we were taking over. The momentum was on our side. Unfortunately, at that point, we were going for a 2-point conversion. We had a penalty that moved us back. We didn't convert the 2-point conversion. Then we had a 15-yard penalty, all in that same play that moved our kickoff back. And so kicking off from the 20 gives them great field position to run out the clock, which they were able to do. It was some stuff that obviously is unacceptable. The 15-yard penalty is completely unacceptable. Obviously, we need to be able to clean up the execution, but that stuff, we can't clean that up. That's either in our program and we got a problem, or it needs to get out of our program.
Last question, a quick answer if you can. 2 for 12 on third down conversions. Where can we clean that up? How do you fix that? Do you simulate that in practice at all? Or it's sustaining the drive, basically. Am I right?
It is, and we do a lot of natural, organic within our practice where we just go our offense versus our defense, and so those third downs kind of happen more naturally. And again, that's something that you got to be able to just execute better than your opponent. And a lot of that stuff falls on me as a coordinator. I got to make sure that we're calling plays that are going to match up well to what we think we're going to get within those situations.
Okay, gotcha. So, all right, Marshall Kramsky's going to now do our Defensive Player of the Week. We'll send over to Marshall. Who you got?
He won it last week, and he did it again this week. John O'Kelly is just, I don't know how to say it, besides that, he's really, really good. And he is your Week 2 Defensive Player of the Week. O'Kelly balled out up in Michigan, and I know you see the stats on your TV, but another 3 sacks this week and 13 tackles, 11 of which were solo, 5 for a loss. O'Kelly is making the most early on of his sophomore season. And that's a wrap for our offensive and defensive players of the week, but don't go anywhere. Later in the show, I will break down our play of the week. Falcon Focus will be right back.
We're back with more Falcon Focus with Jake Gaden and Marshall Kramsky.
Every week, we're putting a spotlight on our favorite player on our Falcon football team. This week, we introduced you to junior Chris Hoad, who had an impressive 2017 season. He recorded 122 total tackles and 3 forced fumbles.
And at last week's season opener, the linebacker picked up 6 tackles. It's all about the little things for Chris Hoad. Sound familiar?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of you guys say this. I like it. Last week, our player, Jared Thames, he said the same thing. Chris Hoad was also one of the first members to join the football class in 2016. Those players turned leaders have adapted that mantra with plans of it taking them through a winning season. One player that embodies all of the hard work from the past 2 seasons is definitely Chris Hoad.
Chris Hoad's passion for football started at a young age.
I always had dreams of playing college football, and now I'm getting to live those out.
His college aspirations became reality when he signed on with Coach Carrigan to be on the first ever Falcon football team.
Felt like a good opportunity to come out here and start a new program. It's what you're going to build as a class and what the coaches want. And so it's unique coming in and getting to be part of that foundation and build it how we wanted to build it.
He and the class of 2016 set the standard that every player is held to today.
It's never wrong to do right. It's just all those little things that play into the bigger picture. We try to relay those standards to the younger guys and make sure that everyone that comes in understands what they are and how we operate here and how we take care of business.
For Hoed, if he wants to succeed on the field, that means holding himself accountable off the field.
Get under it and turn your hips like that. A swipe and pin. So everything from a warm-up to conditioning to reps in the weight room, not skipping reps, doing meetings right, being early, being tentative in the meetings, not back there sleeping or texting or something. We're focused, we're locked in, and making sure everything's going smoothly.
With the groundwork laid the past 2 seasons, the Falcon plan to work hard, play harder, with the goal of winning big.
It's been fun. We've put in a lot of hard work and think we're going to reap the benefits this year.
So Chris Hoad, he is another one of those team leaders. He's been there since the very beginning. Coach, kind of talk about some of the culture that he's helped develop.
Well, the natural thing with him is that he did this in high school. Leonard Rouse, when he got there, they were a brand new high school. So he got to build that from the beginnings. And so coming here, he brought a little bit of that experience with him. And naturally, it's helped him be a leader because he's been in that role before. And then for the past 2 years, he's been the leading vote getter on our team to be a captain, and that's amongst his peers. And that says a lot about who he is and what he means in the locker room, because Chris isn't a guy that is very vocal.
No, he is. Words.
He was probably hard to interview. But his work is unmatched, and I think it shows, and his peers recognize that, and he's pretty much the backbone of the program.
And he really puts that into play on the field. My goodness, 122 tackles last season.
Yeah, he goes.
Pretty good.
He goes hard, and he's a good one to emulate for our young guys.
I love it. All right, now we're going to send it over to Marshall Kramsky one more time so you can tell us our play of the week. Marshall, what you got?
Thanks, guys. This week's play of the week is courtesy of 2 guys we've already spoke about a lot. And that's Sam Allen and our offensive player of the week, Mitchell Leonard. Let me paint the picture for you. The Falcons have 2:21 left in the game, down by 11, and they are looking to mount a comeback. Let's check out the footage. Okay, Allen connects with Leonard's defenders coming right at him, and whoop, see you later. Gets just enough separation to get the ball into the end zone. Let's take another look. Slow-mo this time. Leonard spinning and winning, and a little carrying coming on over here for a Falcons touchdown. Congrats to all of our individual standouts. That's it for me on Falcon Focus. Don't go anywhere, though. After the break, Tatum caught up with Week 2's Coach of the Week. You're not going to want to miss this. Falcon Focus will be right back.
We're back with more Falcon Focus with Jake Dayton and Marshall Kramsky.
The football program is beefing up its coaching staff during the offseason. We're helping you just to get to know each of the newest coaches on this year's coaching staff. This week, Tatum, you went and sat down with one of the new men on campus. He's one of the leaders of the offense.
That's right, and I didn't just sit down with him. We went for a walk. I took to the field to get to know the quarterback coach, Tyler Wright, in 100 yards. Okay, I'm here with Coach Tyler Wright. Tell me first, hardest question, what position do you coach?
Coach the quarterbacks. The linebackers of the offense, as Coach Martin, our defensive coordinator, would like to say.
Okay, so what brings you to UTPB?
UTPB, so Coach Carrigan, Coach Martin, Coach Minio, those guys actually coached me in college. So the prior relationship, Coach Carrigan called me up and said they had an open position, and obviously I jumped at it as fast as I could.
He's really good at selling players on the vision, and I guess his coaching staff too, yeah?
He is. I know getting to play for him, I know what kind of guy he is, I know what kind of coach he is. Obviously he's been very impactful over the last 8 years of my life, and so I knew it was something I wanted to be a part of.
So what is your background?
So my background, played for those guys in college, and then actually came out here and coached at Permian High School for a couple years. So we remained close. And then I wanted to jump in the college game. Whenever I had the opportunity, obviously took advantage of it.
Yeah, so you're kind of getting your first taste of that, being on the other side of the field, I guess so to say. What are some things that you're excited about? What have you liked so far?
Being in recruiting, it's nonstop, works every day. Being in the college game, it's obviously a higher level, a lot faster players, a lot more in depth, because literally as coaches, we're not teaching class, we're not worried about anything else, we are just coaching football, and I like that level of it. Obviously, starting the new program and all the challenges that are still going along with that, even though this is now going into year 4, the 3rd football season, it's just a great time to be a part of UTPB football.
Absolutely. So one of the biggest questions leading up to the first game was who was going to be the quarterback. You've got a great, I guess you would say, staff. What are some cool things that you're seeing with them?
Well, luckily for us, we have 4 quarterbacks. We have 5 on the roster. One in Bubba Henson recently had shoulder surgery, so he'll be out for this year. But we've got 4 great quarterbacks. It's a fun, energetic room to get to coach, to get to watch film with. They've all got different personalities. Some bring more to the table. They bring different things to the table. It's just kind of, it's a great competition day in and day out.
I like that. So what has been your favorite part about coaching? What keeps you coming back every day?
Just the competition, knowing that you're lining up, obviously not as a player anymore, but more on the intellectual side of the game of football against another coaching staff, and trying to put your guys in the best position to do things that they don't think that they could maybe just do by themselves, pushing them to places where they may not be able to get to by themselves. That's kind of that in competition form is what drives me every single day.
Okay, very good. So last question, always my favorite question to ask Coach Wright. If you had a superpower, what would your superpower be?
I think my superpower would be probably photogenic memory. That way, whenever I see a play, I know this is very cheesy, but whenever you see a play or receive some sort of information that you never forget it, whether it's reading or seeing, some sort of fact, or obviously in football, like I said, seeing some defensive scheme or something they've got going on, always being able to remember that, remembering people's names in recruiting, things like that. So I wish I could remember every piece of information that I've ever seen before.
That's why you got the iPhone.
That's it. That's it. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Tatum, that's awesome.
I know. So much fun. We're going to take one last break. When we come back, Coach will tell us a few things that they're working on this week. No pressure.
No pressure.
We're back with more Falcon Focus with Jake Dayton and Marshall Kramsky.
All right, Coach, we got Midwestern State coming into town this week. It's the home opener. It's the first conference game of the year. Are you a little excited, or what are you feeling right now?
Excited, for sure. Playing at home at Ratliff, I think, is to our advantage, and we're excited to stay home for a game.
Let me ask you this. Have you even looked at the tape yet at all? Have you even looked at what Midwestern brings to the table?
Just a little bit, not much. Sundays are tough. We just get done digesting last night's game, and Try to get a little bit going into Midwestern, but we got a good idea. I worked there actually for 4 years, same head coach, same defensive coordinator, and got a little bit of an idea of what they do. Offensively, they're explosive, and they're going to run the ball well. They're going to throw the ball well. They're going to do everything they can to put up a lot of points, and defensively, they do a great job of stopping everything. So it's going to be a tough match on both sides of the ball.
Perfect. All right.
It'll be a fun game. Well, that's all the time that we have for us on Falcon Focus.
For Marshall, Tatum, Coach Carrigan, and myself, we'll see you guys next week here on Falcon Focus.